but we're going to be standing for most of the class. You might want to have a wall or a chair if you're feeling a bit wibbly wobbly, like I said in the email. You might want a wall or a chair nearby. You'll need your 2 blocks, but we'll start in Sukhasana, seated on the floor. So in Sukhasana, but actually it doesn't matter really about crossing your legs, because what I want you to have available are your feet. And I'm going to start by asking you to give yourself a little foot massage. And I'll explain this in a second, but our theme today is, how are you today? Particularly today, particularly here, particularly now. And it's thought this theme is, we're taking it from the fact that one of our best tools of telling us how we are today is yoga. I can come to the mat not knowing things about myself, and I leave knowing a lot more. So every time you're here, you find something else out about yourself, and it helps you adjust and reset, basically. So just giving yourself a little foot massage. Doesn't really matter what foot you started on, but start from the toes and give each toe a little press just on the ball of the toe, and a little press on your big toe particularly. I'm going to show you the map in a minute of reflexology, just out of interest. But as you press, the very top of your toe, I'll show you in a second, is your brain on a reflexology map. So give that a little press and stimulate that area. It'll also stimulate things in your brain. And then further down on the pad of your big toe is your pituitary gland that we spoke about the other day there, that's very involved with our hormones. And then a little further down than that, go onto the ball of the foot and just start to manipulate. Now, I do go to reflexology, and quite often this is where I get really crunchy bits. And when I show you the little map in a second, you'll find that that's where your lungs and your heart. Basically, the foot map moves down your body. The inside of your foot, just keep massaging whichever foot, take a turn around. The inside edges of your foot are your spinal column or your spine area. So as you run your foot up and down, your hand, thumb usually up and down there, you might feel slightly tender parts. If you have backache at all, it's usually shown in this area. So just continue with that while I'm getting this map up onto the screen, and you can have a little look at it just while you're doing this. It's just out of interest. But what I thought was interesting was, hopefully you can all see this. You might have to stop and come forward to the screen. Can't get the whole thing in really. But as I say, it moves down the body. This is the spine, the edge. This is the pituitary gland, the yellow bit. It's not printed very well. The brain is at the top of the big toe. But the interesting thing I thought was this little thing on both sides here, the grey bit, is your thymus that we talked about the other day there. And it's right beside the heart, the blob beside it. And the big yellow part is your lungs. So these are easily found on the internet if anybody wants to look one up later, just out of interest, and see all the different components. And it's not exactly the same on your right and left foot. Some organs are on one, some organs are on the other. I go to my reflexologist and she will tell you that your left foot is your present day state, and your right foot is more past state. So if you've been ill, you can quite often find the right foot is still got shadows of that reflecting in the areas of the organs. For instance, if you've had COVID, your lungs might show that sort of thing. So just thinking of reflexology from the point of view that it's another ancient practice that can tell us a lot about ourselves and can also help us reset. Yoga isn't the only thing, but a lot of these ancient practices are now being recognized. And again, reflexology actually originally was from Egypt thousands of years ago. They've found it in drawings, etc. But again, it was only in the last century that a lady took it on board and recognised its benefits and named it, and used the foot map from the ancient times to work on these things. So again, it's a catch-up process often in the modern world to realise the benefits of these old practices. Okay, so hopefully you've done both feet now and you've maybe noticed a few tender points. So if you want to look up one of those maps and Google it later and have a look at what was tender, it might tell you a little bit about what's going on. If not, all it's done is giving your foot a nice massage, your feet, and we're going to use them in a second, so that's quite helpful. Okay, so leaving your feet, come now to the rest of your body. Close your eyes, find yourself in a comfortable sitting position, Sukhasana, if that's comfortable for you. Eyes closed, just begin now to look at your breath. Don't control it, just look at what is happening with your breath. So going to yoga now and what it can tell us. The breath is one of our biggest tools, we know that. And it also is one of the tools that you can use to tell yourself how you're feeling. So watching your breath without controlling it, is it slow? Is it fast? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Maybe the inhale and the exhale are a little bit uneven. Maybe there's a little bit of staccato in there. Maybe it's stalling and starting again. Maybe your pauses are different lengths between the inhale and the exhale. No judgment here, and it won't particularly tell you exactly what's wrong, but if it's not flowing freely and working deeply without you having to force it there, then it just maybe tells you something is going on inside you. So now using the breath to find that equilibrium that we're trying to move towards, the balanced state that we function best in. Just begin to control the breath using your Samavriti breath, so the even breath. So just begin to do your count of 3 or 4 inhale and your count of 3 or 4 exhale, with a tiny pause in between, but quite an easy transition from inhale to exhale, exhale to inhale. Just taking it in your own time, eyes closed, being very aware of your breath, being very aware of the breath attached to the body and where it's going to, and the space you can find. Think of the 3 parts of you that we worked on Tuesday. So moving the breath through the chest, through the ribs, through the belly, through the diaphragm. And then if you need to let go of the breath here to find your mudra, your Vishnu mudra, bring your hand up to your head, fingers on your third eye, right nostril is your thumb, if you're right-handed anyway, left nostril is your ring finger. Going back to controlling the breath, find your Samavriti breath first of all. And then on your next inhale, close off the left nostril and inhale through the right. Close off the right nostril, exhale through the left. And inhale through the left. If you're not with me, just continue with that pattern. Exhale through the right. Go back to inhaling through the right when you're ready, at your own speed. So it's inhale right, exhale left, exhale right. And just continue with that pattern. In your mind, you can focus on a circle. So the inhale would be up and the exhale may be down. Anything that helps you to attach yourself to the breathing, use it. So here what we're doing is called Anuloma Viloma. It's alternative nostril breathing. So what we're doing is attaching our right and left side of the brain to each other. We're joining them in this process and finding balance there. We're working on our nervous system. We're working through the major nadis in yoga. So the Sushumna nadis, your middle one, your right and left are your Ida and Pingala, other way around. So we know that those have traits, the Pingala and the Ida nadi. We're also therefore working through our chakras from our throat chakra, particularly downwards through our physical chakras, our heart, our solar plexus, our sacral, and our root chakra, because all of those are joined up through the Sushumna Nadi and the Ida and Pagara Nadi. So in yoga, we're working with our bodily systems here. If you're comfortable now, take Kumbhaka, which is holding that pause in between the right and left. So you would inhale right, hold for a count of 2 or 3, and exhale through the left. Then inhale through the left, hold for a count of 2 or 3, and exhale through the right. So try that one if you feel comfortable. You may feel more comfortable trying to hold the pause on the exhale. So try that one in a second if you want to. Find which of those two that you prefer if you're trying to hold. If you're just breathing, that's fine. We won't be here for too long, but all you're doing is breathing and it's doing you lots of good, so don't stop. So the Kumbhaka, the holding process, brings us into another term for the similar breath, which is Nadi Shodhana. And this is a means of finding homeostasis again. Homeostasis is where your physiology works all together properly. So blood pressure, retention of the correct amount of water in your body, circulation. Homeostasis is trying to bring all your systems into that balanced state. And that's, again, if we don't have homeostasis in our body, it can result as far as death, because it's like a car engine basically, it breaks down. So we need to keep that balance in our physiology as well as our mental state. So the breath can help with that too. Just take a couple more breaths and let go of your control of the breath. Just sit with your eyes closed for a second and see if you can watch for a change. See if there's any difference. Maybe more attached to where you are and what you're doing. Maybe you feel a little bit calmer. Maybe your shoulders have slid down the back of your body. Maybe your head feels more spacious. It may be a physical change you feel. It may be a mental change you feel. Okay, so then moving off from this, give your legs a little shake out if you feel a bit stiff and come into tabletop. We're going to take a series of moves here on the floor first to look at balance before we move up. So trying to find that balanced state. So in tabletop, first of all, just take your right leg back, ball of the foot rolled onto the floor and have a stretch through the pad of the foot and the back of the leg, lifting up through the hip flexor, stretching out through the heel, feeling that pad of the foot that we've just been working on. Have a little roll backwards and forwards if it helps, just to roll onto the ball of that foot, maybe lifting up into the toes, just to get some movement through the leg and some attachment to the sole of your foot again. Then through the left foot, same thing. So a little roll through the foot. Feel that strength in the plantar fascia. Hopefully you feel that nice and strong today. That's the arch of the foot, so that's going to be helpful when we're working on balance. Come back into tabletop and then just pad your hands. So again, reflexology can actually be done in your hands. They do have a map very similar to what the feet map is. So you can just sit and rub your hands as well and have the same thing. Okay, so now we're attached to our hands and our knees and feet are nice and square on the floor. Let's try a little bit of balance. So take the right foot back, find your hip hinge, lift that foot to wherever you're comfortable, hold, find your breath, take your left arm if you're comfortable and move it forward. Now, if you don't want to lift it and you don't feel ready, listen to what's happening in your body, what's being told. If you're comfortable, lift your left arm and have opposites stretching in either direction. So through the sole of the foot, foot flex, maybe flex your wrist in the left hand and reach through the palm of the hand. Breathe and try and find the balance point somewhere around your middle. And then release. So wherever you got to in that balance, take it on the other side now. Wherever you get to in these balances, just be aware and watch what happens on this side. You may find it's completely different. So leg up first, then your arm out and lift it if you're comfortable with that. Press into both the hand and the leg that's still on the floor. Draw your tummy up, reach through the crown, tuck your chin, find your posture points and they will help with the balance. And then release the hand and foot to the floor. We're going to take half plank here on our elbows, so folding down onto your elbows and moving away so that you feel you've got a nice long body. So you're really kind of on your knees, but you're kind of at quite an extreme angle here. Lift up the tummy and tuck the bottom. And then try and move the shoulders down the back of the body and move that little thymus forward again. And breathe. So how's this balance for you? Quite a strong balance. You do need strength to balance, but you also need to find that point of ease if you can. So if you're comfortable with it, now tuck your toes and roll up into plank on your elbows. So a bit harder. Watch that lower back. Use your tummy and the engagement through your hips to lift and secure that lower half. And then if you can either drop your knees here and come into half plank on your hands, or you can roll up from your elbows, one hand at a time, and come into full plank. So, form of balance. At a different angle, not the way the body normally has to function in balance. But we have got 4 points on the floor here to help us. So push into all of them, lift up through the chin, draw up through the tummy, tuck the bottom down, move the shoulders back and heart forward. And find your breath, 2 breaths. And then release carefully down to the floor, elbows going backwards. Untuck the toes, push into your hands and sink back slowly, move back into child's pose. Extended or bring your elbows under. Maybe you want to put your head on your hands. And just listen to your heart and what it's doing now. So mine is beating quite strongly. There's a lot of strength needed for a plank particularly. As I say, it's a different angle for your body to have to balance in. There's a lot more gravity pressing down on it. But it goes back to the premise of Sthira and Sukha. You need to find that strength and stability to find balance. But to balance, you have to recognize the other side of it, Sukha, which is easefulness, flexibility, mobility. To find balance means moving your weight around physically. To find balance in life, maybe moving things around and changing things. Balance won't happen if you stay stock still and force things. Okay, so coming up from child's pose, we're coming into Malasana, but supported. So bring your bricks in, and we're going to come up into our Malasana. So I never remember which angle my bricks are supposed to be at this. That's it. Your feet are turned out, so your bricks have got to be turned in. So pop the bricks under your feet. I know some of you can do this comfortably on your feet, but just bring the bricks in today, just to change up the angle and feel the pressure going down onto the ball of the foot there. If you want a wall behind you here, because you do feel wobbly, then use it. Otherwise, upper arms in inner thighs, hands in Anjali Mudra, and roll your undercarriage forward and downwards. So the pressure you feel here is probably more going through your heels than the ball of your feet. See if you can press into the ball of the feet and take the pressure off your heels a little bit. Draw the tummy in and the heart, try and move it up and forward. You will still lean a little bit forward here, but try and draw yourself up a little bit more and tuck that chin. And then breathe and see if you can find where you can change things here to find that balance. I know you're probably staying still and not falling over, hopefully, But if you can find some ease here, just to soften a little bit. So I can find my shoulders are really tight. So I'm just trying to open up through my shoulders a little bit more by pressing through my hands. Look for any point that doesn't feel easeful in this balance and see if you can support it by another part of you. And then pop your hands to the floor, move the bricks out of the way. You'll need them again possibly in a minute, so move them out of the way. I'm facing the wrong way, but we're going to keep the hands on the floor. Walk the feet back and come into down dog. So just walk back into down dog. So another form of balance, you've got to find that middle point of you. Lift your hips up. Push into your hands, lengthen through the body, and let your head go, just hang. You may still be up in the ball of your feet, your knees may still be a little bit bent, or quite a lot bent. Tuck the tummy, so lift up through the body, and then walk the dog, so rolling through your feet one at a time. Onto the ball of the feet again. The lungs are getting a good workout this morning, and the pituitary gland, particularly on your big toe. And we're using the spine as we roll through the feet here through reflexology. And then sink the bottom again. Walk the hands back towards you. Keep up in the ball of your feet. And we're coming into another balance here. So if you feel a bit wobbly, use a piece of furniture or the wall if you need to. Otherwise, keep your hands on the floor if you're really feeling wobbly here. Once you focus on something and find that sort of balance through your body and feel that you maybe can lift, take one hand up onto your knee, then the other hand up onto your knee. Have a little second there to find the balance point there. And then start to raise up through your body and lift up to look ahead of you. And once you get to there, soften through your shoulders, draw back through your tummy, draw back through your chin, feel all the little wobble through your feet. Bring one hand up at a time if you want to go a little bit further and come up into Anjali Mudra. Bringing your thumbs towards your heart and your heart towards your thumbs. Soften the shoulders again, soften your jaw. Find that balance point and breathe into it. So try and feel that you're moving the weight around a little bit just to stay in that point of balance. You can feel it through your toes and your feet wobbling probably, the little bones all moving around in there to hold you. And then coming out of that, carefully pop the hands on the floor. We're going to come up through a roll up now, so rolling the feet flat onto the floor. You're in a soft forward fold then. Have a hang out if you feel you need to here. Tuck the tummy, draw it up to support the lower back. Sink the bottom a little bit, and then just roll up carefully. Looking along the floor, looking up the wall. Take your time, come up slowly, no head rush. Back up to the top and undo yourself into first standing balance, which is Tadasana. So in Tadasana, have a little roll through your feet, a rock through your feet. Pad them out again. Feel that connection. Find your posture points as you do that. Lift up, feel your body opening a little bit more through the hip flexors, a little bit more through the space between your ribs and your hips, a little bit more through your front of your chest and closing off a little bit on the back of your body across your shoulders. And then come to standing. So hips and feet should be in line here to help us to balance. It's the best point of balance for human bodies, is with your feet slightly apart, not together, otherwise you're a pencil and you've only got one point of balance there. So feet slightly apart. Start to have some roll up and downs now onto the ball of your feet. So just rolling up and down, lifting the toes as you come down and rolling onto the heels if you can. So rocking right through those feet. You might find the upper body has changed slightly to accommodate this movement. I can feel my balance has moved forward, because if I do it like that, I feel a lot more wobbly as I roll backwards. So watch what's happened with your body. Your body will have changed position to help you stop you fall over, basically. Whoops, proprioception, didn't work there. Okay, so having done that, see if you can bring your hands up as well at the same time. Maybe even you can stop at the top and have a little balance. Have a little pause. So now bring the breath in. Inhale as you go up and pause at the top for a couple of counts. And then exhale as you go down. And pause at the bottom for a couple of counts. Take a couple more of those. Thinking of rocking through onto the heels, taking it a bit slower because you're breathing nice and slowly now. So we're not rocking up and down quite so quickly. It's a lot harder to stay in balance when you take it slowly. But it does give you time to work out what you need to do. Okay, so coming back down to the floor again on the feet. Bring your right knee in, take it in half Utkatasana, so behind the thighs, on the shin, but draw the knee inwards and try and keep the body nice and long. So pressing into that standing foot, find the balance point there. Find your 3 points on your foot, your big toe knuckle, little toe knuckle, and the heel. And then in this position, see if you can take your hand above your head. If you feel still a bit wobbly, use something to hold on to here. But draw the tummy in, draw the chin in, feel yourself lift up through from that standing foot, from the arch of that standing foot. And breathe and just notice how it feels balancing on this foot in particular. Is there any way you can draw in just to help it feel a little bit more connected to the floor? And then release that leg down. Notice now as you take the other side and do the same thing, what happens. It can tell you sometimes the relation to your right-left brain. It's not always that your brain's strong on one side or strong on the other. It might be that you're just a bit wobbly working with the opposite side of you today. Might be that you know, for instance, I know my left side's my strong side. Can tell you that about yourself, which is quite interesting and quite helpful sometimes. And then come down. Going to take tree now, but let's start everybody with the tree with a block beside you. So come back onto your left standing leg, bring your brick in, the block, and pop your foot onto it and find yourself in tree, but with your foot, your ball of your foot on the brick. So then think of tree and what you have to do with your hips here. So you're moving your left standing leg hip inwards to center, to find that point of balance. The other leg, you want to squeeze your right hip so that it opens up your knee a little bit more. Use your hand if you can, just to gently open up that inner thigh. And then find your Anjali Mudra and notice how this feels. Notice what's happening. Feels a little bit odd if you're used to putting your foot on your leg. But press gently into that block with your ball of that foot. See if you can lift up a little bit more through that foot. And then move the brick away and bring yourself into tree. So your foot can still be on the floor if you're a bit wobbly, or you can bring it to your calf, your thigh, your knee. Nowadays even they give that cue, Peggy, believe it or not. So think of the inner thigh though still opening up if you can. Think of that standing foot and pressing in and lifting through the arch. If you feel comfortable, you can take your hands above your head. Breathe, find the length. Quite an easy balance maybe now for you yogis that do these sort of things and have certain points of strength. But bring the hand back down and now take the hands out in front of you. And we're going to take Robin Hood with our right elbow going back. If you need anything to hold on to or the foot needs to go down, please take it now. And then rotate gently and open up through into your T shape to look over towards the side that the legs folded on. And when you get there, breathe. Oh, I'm going to wobble. If you wobble and fall, please don't worry and don't judge yourself for it. It's actually just a learning process. once you've lost it, sometimes it doesn't come back. Just finding out something about what's happening and having a laugh about it. Lighten up if it's upsetting you, it'll be harder to balance. Bring that arm back round, drop the arms down gently, have a little shake out, try that on the other side. As I say, you might learn something about one side of your body to the other. I know this will be my even wobblier side. But it might change up. If I take it lightly and easily, it might not be. So try it first of all, find your standing position using the brick. Find that connection to opening up the other side of you, the folded leg hip. Find your other hip and squeeze it in towards center. Find your Anjali Mudra. Seems really easy at this point. Taking support is easier to find balance. Okay, so kick the brick away. Find your balance again. And then pop your leg into position for tree, for Vrkasana. If you can, take your hands above your head. Bring your elbows in a little bit closer to your ears. Draw your tummy in. Move your heart forward. Move that outside, the folded knee out a little bit if you can. Breathe. And then bring the hands down in one movement if you can in front of you. Take the left elbow back carefully into your Robin Hood. Use your focus to help you here. Use your eyes to help you balance. 70% of your balance will come from your vision. Open up carefully into your T shape. Reach through your hands. Use that to help you balance. Breathe. Oh, not as wobbly as I thought, actually. And then bring yourself back to the front. Allow the hands to come down. Have a little shake out. So did you find anything out about your balance there? Maybe, maybe not. Have a little body scan to see. Close your eyes in Utkatasana if you're comfortable closing them. If not, half close them. And just have a roll through your feet again and see where feels tense. That's probably where you tense up trying to balance. So I can feel it between my shoulder blades. Probably in my jaw as well, I can feel a little bit. So if you find this tension in your balance, if you can let go of that tension, it allows the energy to flow through you a lot better and to find that balance point all over. So there's not just one point of balance. It's the whole of your body needs to work in balance together. Okay, so hands together again in Anjali Mudra. And then sit down into chair. So into chair, as if you were just sitting down onto your chair. Remember, it's not sticking the bottom out, it's sinking the bottom down. When you get into chair, long front body, draw your heart forward, draw your shoulders back, tuck your bottom and pull your tummy in a little bit. And then see if you can move into your left foot and lift your right leg. And breathe. Take a couple of breaths there. Move into your right foot on the floor, lift up your left foot, still staying in the chair position. Move back into the left foot, try and breathe with this if you can, and move your hands out if you can and lift them up above your head on one leg now still. Breathing. Use your breath, long breaths to hold and breathe. And then bring the hands back to heart center as you change feet. Move your hands up when you're on your right foot. See if you can sink your bottom just a little bit more. Bring the hands back down, come back to chair position. Find your chair, find your posture points, find all the points that I gave you earlier, and then see if in this position you can just roll onto the ball of both feet. See if you can then sink your hips a little bit more. If you want a bit more challenge, see if you can take your hands up above your head. Wherever you are, take 2 or 3 breaths, nice, long, slow breaths. Engaging with everything to try and find that balance point. And then bring the hands down to heart center if you've got them above your head. Roll back up carefully to standing. Come into Tadasana, have a little shake through the legs again. How was that one? Easier than you thought? Harder than you thought? Okay, so coming now into standing pigeon. All balances today. Again, use walls, chairs, anything you need to here if you're not quite sure of yourself in it. So we're sinking down onto the left foot again, softening that knee, lifting the right leg, flexing that foot, and then I use my hands, I'm not that flexible, to lift it over and sit it down in a figure of four shape on the other thigh. So you can do this, just keep your hands on your thighs, put your hands to your heart if you're more comfortable. You can take it a little bit further. Oh, I'm wobbly on this side today. Take your T shape and cross over into your figure of four. So I've folded my left arm under my right here. And then see if you can sink your bottom just a little bit more. And breathe. So make sure you feel nice and long in the front body to breathe into. See if you can soften your jaw maybe a little bit. Relax through your shoulders without dropping your arms. How's this one? How does this feel? And then open up, undo, have a little shake through again. Are you finding anything out about yourself, or is it just a case of trying to hold on here and find that balance? Okay, so into the other side of standing pigeon. Soften the knee, remember, lift the foot, flex that foot to stop the knee twisting, and then sit down. Find your position in the bottom half first, find your stability there. Trying to find balance all over in life at once doesn't work, we know that. You need to do it in an order. Sort your list out, some people would say. Whoa. Hands to heart center, or into your figure of four, the other side now, with your shoulders if you'd like. So nice hip opener, nice shoulder opener, if you've chosen that one. But trying to find your balance here on the mat is hard enough. Trying to find a balance in life is much, much harder. And you need to sometimes move things around, open things up, shake things up, to make sure that your energy copes with every energy that's coming at you from out there. Undo, come back up, have a little shake out. Have a little roll up and down now again on your feet. Take your arms up with you. See how much easier that maybe feels now. Now that you've got your brain both sides attached to balancing a bit more, is this rolling up and down much more easeful and much more flowy? At the top here, move into your left leg a little bit again. We're going to take a side bend, but take your right foot out and point the toe. And then just have a nice side bend, armpit to hip on the left side, and a big stretch out through that side of you. And then come back down, take the foot in, same thing other side. Move into your right foot, point the other toe, armpit to hip connection, and then reach out with the upper arm. Feel that space coming down that side of the body now. And then stand back up. Okay, so very last balance. Grab your strap if you've got it handy. If you don't want to use your strap this morning, you don't need to. We're doing what we did at the end of the last pop-up. Our big toe pose, Utthita, Hasta, Padanghustasana. So you can either use the strap or you can just take your big toe this morning. We've been working with that big toe. That's where our brain is. Let's see if we can use it. If you want to use the strap, though, please feel free. If you want to use the wall or a chair, please feel free. Everybody move into the left leg first of all. Lift the other foot up. You've got the strap round it. We know how to do it with the strap now. Move the foot out. If you want to take it with your hand, use your index and your middle finger to just hook between your big toe and the next toe on the right foot. Find, first of all, that nice long feeling through from your foot to your crown. Find the point of balance. Use that hip to come to center. And then take the foot out. If you've got the strap, you've already probably moved out. If you haven't, you're now moving your heel out just the same way. Without the strap, you've just not got quite as long a length there. If you've got the strap, see if you can pull the strap or walk your hands down the strap and make it shorter. Okay, so here, you can take your hand out. You can use a wall. You can reach up through. You can take your foot dead ahead. Maybe you can take the foot out. But as you do that, watch what happens with your other arm. You might need it to balance. You can even take that foot in front of you, cross hands, and take it the opposite way. So you've moved to your other hand holding it. You've got your arm out, your arm up on the wall, your leg crossing. Ooh, and then take that leg down. So one to play around with. That's a great one to tell you about how you're feeling balance-wise. Have a shake out, have a little slap through that hip. Try it on the other side. So we know what we're doing now. You just play around with it. Get your balance first before you start stretching legs out. Lift that leg up a little bit higher if you can. See if you can take it a little bit higher this time. Put your arm where you're comfortable. Find your strength. Through that standing foot, through that arch, lift up. Reach up towards your crown. Draw your tummy in. Let go of your jaw. Have a smile. Take your leg out if you want to try it out the way. Whoops, you have to move your hand, or I do usually, to balance a bit better. Cross over if you want to try on this side. This really works your ankle, I find, this one. So crossing over, lifting the leg up a little bit more if you can. And then release. Gently allow that foot come to the floor. Have a little shake all over. Release things that might have been holding. Have a little roll through your feet. They've done a lot of work. Both sides. Have a little roll through your shoulders. Let go of anything that's holding there. Interesting how many parts of the body get tense when it's actually your feet that are the balance points. So it is all working together. You are trying to balance throughout your whole system. Have a little swing round. Release any holding. Soften your knees as you swing. And then come back to Tadasana. If you feel you need anything else to release and let go, please take it. You may want to roll down and roll up here and a hang out in ragdoll. Please take whatever you feel you need. For those of us that have got to go on with the day, hopefully you feel more balanced now. Ask yourself that question again. How are you today? Just take a breath or two to listen to the answer by having a quick body scan of yourself. Where is the weight now? Has it moved from your head? Any weight you were feeling there at the beginning of class, emotionally or physically? Do you feel as if things are flowing much easier through you now? Is there a lightness that the balance has brought around? I'm still rocking, very much attached to my feet. Maybe that's just making sure they're still on the floor. Thank you everybody for your practice this week as we finish and look forward to next week. Not sure what the question is next week, but it'll all still be about you. So thank you and have a great weekend. Namaste.